because if you're really going to try that hard to put yourself in someone else's shoes, it probably won't end up like how their life ended up. Hi, besties. Welcome to my podcast, You Against You podcast, and I'm your host, Deja Nicole. So, this is the first episode of season 4. So, before I tell you the title of season 4 and what season 4 is all about, I was supposed to have this out like back in August, but we having it out before the end of the year. So, yeah, but like I said, we're in season 4. Episode 1 of You Against You podcast is season 4. It's all about this era is ... So this episode is called This Era is called Entering a New Season. I feel like this episode is really good, especially that we are in the last month of 2025, the last couple of weeks of 2025. You know, the holidays are happening, and you know, it's going to get here sooner than later as we know it. Like, it was like January a couple weeks ago, and now it's December 2nd while I am recording this episode. So, yeah. But like I said, I'm your host, Deja Nicole. My podcast is going to be wellness and lifestyle based and also faith based content episodes for this podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, yes, I have a gingerbread Hello Kitty in my hand that my boyfriend got me from Five and Below. So I have it right here just because I just want to. But let's just get into today's episode. So like I said, today's episode is titled This Era is called Entering a New Season, and then I have my handy dandy iPad with me, and we're just basically going to talk about things that I feel like you can do right now to enter 2026 in a good note, or if you are entering a new season this month, that you can start it off in a good note. So let's do a weekly update. So like I said, this is the first episode of season 4. So yeah, I've been procrastinating on when I was gonna record the trailer, when I'm gonna post the trailer. Like, it took me about 2 months to post the trailer. I kid you not. And I was supposed to post it in late September, early October. And then season 1 was supposed to be out in November. Not season 1, episode 1 was supposed to be out in November. But yeah, no, that didn't happen. But I'm doing good. I'm doing good mentally. I've been journaling. I'm trying to get back into working out. So after I record today's episode, besties, I'm going to actually do a mat Pilates by watching one on YouTube and do that for like, I think 15 or 30 minutes. I don't know. It depends on how I feel, because I'm also caffeinated, but then I'm also tired. But yeah, mentally, I am doing good. I have been slowly getting back into reading. I have been journaling. I've been entering and doing new hobbies. Like, I love playing on my Nintendo Switch. I love playing Animal Crossing. Yeah, Animal Crossing. So I love playing Animal Crossing. I am working on a 1,000 piece puzzle. I've been coloring. I've been writing my book. Even though I might have to push back a lot of things about my book, I've been writing. Um, I've been coloring. I have been playing other games on my Switch besides Animal Crossing. I just been doing a lot lately, and I am in a relationship. So yeah, I have a lot of things have changed and stuff. I still don't have my license. I still haven't had my car fixed, and I definitely still don't have a job, which I'm still looking. But with the whole thing that's going on in the United States under the person in office, that is like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's very hard to find a job nowadays. and I actually will post a episode with a returning guest in, I think, January or February, because it would be episode 15. And we're going to talk about the job market. We already record the episode, but it won't come out later, early next year. But it's going to talk about the job market, how it's hard for Gen Z to find a job, especially after college. Why is it what should you do mentally, how to take care of your mental health, and all of that. So stay tuned for that episode. But yeah, that's my mental health checkup. So today's quote is, embrace your life just as it is. The imperfections are where is what hold on. So let me reread that again. So it's, embrace your life just as it is. The imperfections are what make it flawsome. The affirmation of today's episode is, I am able to look back over my life and find countless reasons to feel proud, fulfilled, and happy. And I feel like this affirmation for today's episode will go well with the key points that I'm going to talk about. And then today's journal prompt is, what are the most important values in life and how can you live more alignment with them? And to add on to that question, what is something that you want to do in the new season that you're entering in life after listening to this episode? So, yeah. So, let's just get into today's episode. So, before we get into today's episode, besties, you can follow You Against You podcast on both Insta and TikTok, which is You Against You pod.by Deja. Again, that's You Against You pod.by Deja. Those are on Instagram and TikTok. If you are watching this on YouTube, hi. You can hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. And also, don't forget to like and comment. If you have any episode ideas, you can put them in the comments. If you're listening to this on Spotify, don't forget to leave a rating and a comment. And I do read those comments. I do when I check my analytics on my podcast and which type of episodes are doing good. And it actually helps push out the episode when you comment under my podcast on Spotify. It helps push out my podcast to new listeners, and it just helps to grow the community. And if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave a rating and review, and also share this episode and what you're doing while listening to this episode on your social media platforms, and also tag You Against You podcast as well, so I can share them on the You Against You podcast Instagram stories. But let's just get into today's episode, besties. So the first key point is, I'm going to talk about the current season that I'm in life, to give y'all a little insight on where and how I want to finish this year off. And also, if you are in a similar season that I'm in right now, you can probably want to, I don't know, reflect on how you're doing and all that. So I am finding a routine for myself. I am planning to have a set morning routine by mid-January and have a set night routine by the end of January. But I am finding a routine for myself. Sometimes I do my morning routine. Sometimes I do my night routine, but I want to have it set in stone by the middle to end January, just because I want to have some type of structure in my life. And as someone, who had somewhat of a routine when I was in college and then when I was working, it is hard when you don't have something to go by. When if you're a college student, you have to wake up a certain time of day, try to, eat breakfast at this time, trying to, commute to campus, and you have your classes at what time they start, what time they end, and you have probably homework after that. And if you work, you probably work and then do homework. And if you just work, you also have a schedule on what you have to do in the morning to have like a great day before going to work, and a little nighttime routine too for you to have a nice rest when you go to sleep so you can be energized to go to work, but also a nighttime routine that can help you de-stress to calm down from all the chaos you had from work. And I feel like I do not have that. I don't have that structure anymore. I want that structure. I just feel like my mind is all over the place at the moment because I'm looking for jobs and applying, and then I haven't posted like any content or none of my platforms for the last couple of weeks. So it's like I want to get back into posting content. I want to get back into all of my routines, not just having a set in stone morning and night routine, but also, okay, I'm posting on YouTube for my personal YouTube channel, Deja Nicole, like every Friday and Sunday, but I just feel like I don't have that balance and the discipline to record a video, to edit a video, and to get a video out by a certain time. And it's just like, it's very tiring, and I feel like I'm always tired, especially not having a routine. And I want to find time to like do my morning routine, work out, journal, this and that. And sometimes it can be hard, but I feel like if I take the next, like this whole month and to mid January to make a set routine for myself, I feel like my mind won't be as chaotic how it is now. The next thing that I'm doing in my current season is I'm going out more. I just feel like me now being in a relationship, I do go out, and I want to continue to go out more. And my goal next year is to like get a job. Hopefully if I can get a job this month, it's perfect to work on paying off my debt and getting my car fixed within the first 3 months of 2026. And I want to go out more. I want to go to workout classes. I want to go to and try different like cafes. I want to go shopping. I want to do this and that, or go to a cafe to just edit or work on my book. I want to go out more than stay in, but I don't have a car. But like I said, it is, as a homebody, sometimes that is hard to do, is to go out more because we feel comfortable in our familiar spaces, and sometimes crazy things happen when you go out and stuff, but that is something that I really want to do, is go out more. um the next thing is that I'm starting to love myself more. I'm trying. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. I try to just look at myself in the mirror and tell myself I love myself more. I love something about myself. How I look is very hard to do that. I feel like, especially as women, we are in the day and age of social media, but we are also in the day and age of BBLs, unfortunately. And the people that some of us follow or watch, no matter if it's an influencer, a singer, a rapper, an actress, whoever, they probably have work done. And we know that they had work done. And sometimes it makes us discouraged because nowadays, there's about 99.5, or I wouldn't say 99.5, but 95% of women who actually have natural bodies, in my opinion, like in my opinion, in the United States at least, that are in the age groups of 20s to mid to late 30s, because it is so normalized to get your lips done, to get your nose done, to get implants in your buttocks, to get BBLs, to have a slim tummy, to get your breasts done. Like, it is very normalized in today's age that we do not love ourselves. But then it's like, well, if I get a BBL, I start loving myself. But those are really harming y'all if y'all do have one. No shade, but it is harming y'all in the most slowest way possible. But I'm like learning to love myself, and sometimes I will say, okay, I like this about me, because I can't get work done. I have a heart condition, and I would never get work done if I could. But I just feel like it is sometimes hard when you're scrolling on like TikTok and you start comparing yourself to others. As someone who, wears her natural hair out sometimes, and I see like other women that looks like me, but they have nice like straight hair, I would say, because my hair is nice. I love my curls, but they have straight hair. I don't know, because now wigs are very popular in the black community, that a lot of black women don't like to love their natural hair. And yes, I will have braids in, I've had crochet, twists in, whatever, but I will always have my natural hair. Like, I will wear it here and there, like, but it's sometimes not looked upon in a good way because of that. But they like other people that's lighter than me, who have fairer skin, that has features that I like. My lips, I have natural full lips. I would never ever get my lips done. Never. I would never wear false eyelashes. I have always had like long eyelashes, but sometimes I have to like be like, oh, I'm happy that I have this naturally, because I know how society can get in your head, and social media can get in your head and be like, oh, you're ugly. So yeah, don't let that happen. Another thing is, like I said, I'm in a relationship. Um, it's the best thing that happened. I don't want to like talk way too much about it, because I'm planning to do a whole episode on, loving yourself when you are in a relationship, when you're not in a relationship, close to Valentine's Day. It would probably be the Sunday before Valentine's Day or the Sunday after Valentine's Day. Hopefully the Sunday before Valentine's Day. But yes, I'm in a relationship. I met my boyfriend through Hinge, and he's the best thing that happened, because he is very funny, very kind. He's the sweetest person ever, and I can be myself. I don't have to be ashamed to like show my goofy side out. And I am always smiling, laughing. Like, he's on the phone right now asleep while I'm recording this, but I have myself muted so I don't wake him up. But it's like the best thing ever, and I'm just so happy. And I feel like we had this conversation like literally a couple days ago, that we never thought that both of us would end up in a relationship by the end of 2025, because how people, Gen Z, I would say, today generation, view relationships. Because what's so funny is that a lot of people think being in a relationship, no matter if you're married or dating, is more commitment than having a baby when you're not in a relationship with that person. And it's a scary time to live in. So if you are in a healthy relationship, please share that, like, cherish that relationship. And if you are single out there, do not listen to what people say about relationships on social media. I just feel like that's really take on like why people can't find a relationship or not a relationship because of what social media portrays on what a relationship should be, like the 3 month rule and this and that. And I feel like listen to your heart, don't listen to people. And like I said, I will do like a whole episode on this because I was talking to an old friend, an acquaintance of mine. We were just catching up, and I posted my boyfriend on my story. I did ask for his permission, but I posted my boyfriend on my Instagram story, and she commented under it. And then I asked her, I was like, "Do you believe in like the 3 month rule?" And she was like, "No, because I feel like if your heart really means it, it means it because you should always want to follow your heart." I feel like social media really have standards on everything, which to the point it really has us overthinking things, and I just hate that. Like, he asked me out on our second date. We started talking late October while he was on deployment still. And when he came back from deployment, we went on our first date. So it's like he knew, and I also knew too. I knew because every time we would call, it was like an 8 hour difference, 7 to 8 hour difference. And it would be like 3 a.m. there and 5 a.m. here. So when he was overseas and he would call, he would be in the cold, sometimes no socks, just slides, shorts, and a jacket and a t-shirt, and he'd just call me, and we would just talk for hours. And I mean hours. Like, we would have phone calls for like 2 hours, and I'd be like, we've been on the phone for like this long. And he was like, yeah, I know. And we would just laugh and just talk, and that really like made me smile. Like, every time I got a text message from him, from like, because I gave him my phone number, because I would never like really text someone if I'm like, oh, if I see someone like potential, like, oh, I really want to get to know them after like we match, I would give them my phone number. But I would give him my phone number, and like we would text here and there, and I would be like, do you like have to pay for this to like text and stuff? Because I know it's different when you're trying to text someone who's in the United States and you're overseas. Like, you have to pay for that. So, but we will always call, we will always text, we will, like, it was just like we planned a date. And it was like an amazing first date. And we went on our second date the week after. And I already met all of his friends. All his friends are cool. He met my family. My family likes him. We FaceTime like every single day. We sleep on FaceTime. We send each other reels on Instagram. And like I said, I can be myself. I can be like myself, goofy, and all of that around him. Like, he doesn't judge me. He doesn't try to dim my light, dim my spark, because I have been in a situation where that did happen. And I'm just so happy that God brought him into my life because he's funny. He's very funny. But yes, I'm in a relationship. It's best thing that happened. We would be 1 month on the 21st, so that's good. Like, I don't know, I'm happy. He makes me smile. He really does. I have like two other stuffed animals he got me, and like I said, this thing, and then I have one of his hoodies on my bed because I accidentally like spilled coffee on it, so I had to like wash it and let it air dry. But it's like the best thing that ever happened. So yeah. And then the next thing is that I'm trying new hobbies. I have got me a 1,000 piece puzzle, and I wouldn't say I work on it every single day, but I would want to work on it maybe every other day, or maybe over the weekend, and listen to jazz music or watch anime. I am coloring. I am playing on my Switch. I want to get back into playing Sims soon on my laptop. I am watching anime. I just like that just literally came out my mouth. is watching anime. I usually watch romance anime, and I started watching anime not so long ago. I finished this series called The Fragrant Flower on Netflix. It's so good. It's like so freaking good. And my boyfriend also recommended me so many romance animes. So I like that's on Netflix. So I'm gonna like watch them when I'm finished watching two because I'm watching two at the moment. Actually three. I'm watching three. So I have been getting into anime, the romance animes, and I'm getting back into reading because I was in the longest reading slump, and I'm kind of still am. But after I record today's episode and after I work out and shower, I am going to start a 12-hour readathon. Something short because I can never ever do a 24-hour readathon, but I'm going to start that. I want to get back into reading so I can do my like reading updates on my bookstagram or book talk. So I've been doing that. I want to get back into painting too. That is something that I told myself I want to. Maybe some point this month I will. Maybe I want to re-enter all my old hobbies that I stopped doing some point in the month of December. So yeah. And the next thing in my current season is getting closer to God. I don't go to church because of how the pastor is on political views, and I just feel like political things at all, like politics and churches, should not always, like, they do not mix well. And yeah, but I still watch, the sermon on YouTube. I do Bible studies every single morning or day if I'm very busy in the morning. And I got this app on my iPad. It's called Enduring Word, where it can break down the chapter that you're reading, and it breaks it down to like different key points. It gives you Bible verses that can go with that chapter in the Bible. So I have been doing that, and it actually helps me and gives me a more understanding on what the chapter I just read. So yeah. And right now I'm on Second Corinthians. That's the book I'm reading in, but I'm almost done because I read Second Corinthians chapter 10 today. Tomorrow I'm reading 11 and it has 13 chapters. So today is Tuesday. I'll be done with that book by Thursday. So I don't know if I'm going to read in the Old Testament or New Testament. I have like a generator to do that because I want to read the like in like mix. I just read the book of Psalms before I read the book of Second Corinthians, and that was a long book. I read 5 chapters a day, so that was very long, but I did read in the book of Psalms, and that was very, very eye-opening. So yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about things that you can do when you're entering a new season. So the next key point that I'm going to talk about is things that you can do to not let things control you or others control you, and how you can just have your focus on your goals. If you want to take notes, besties, grab pen and paper or a notebook, just something to write on and write with, and just keep keep taking track on these. And if you have to rewind of something that you miss, do that. And I always have like my key points and what I talk about my key points on my Instagram, the podcast Instagram, and in the show notes, so you can always check that. And I know with Apple Podcasts, you can have like the transcriptions show up, so you can also check that as well. So yeah. So one thing that you can do, and I feel like this is like the same way as don't try to control, like, compare yourself to others, not control, but try not to compare yourself to others, is don't put yourself in their shoes. I feel like, so yes, you hear that a lot, especially growing up, and you like hear like, try putting yourself in their shoes. I feel like you shouldn't, because you don't know the things that they're going through, or that's going on in their life behind closed doors, and you are not really focusing on yourself, because if you're really going to try that hard to put yourself in someone else's shoes, it probably won't end up like how their life ended up. If you go through the same trials and tribulations that they went through, and I feel like we should stop having that mindset, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, we don't know if tomorrow is promised, and that is something I feel like we shouldn't like do, is try to put ourselves in other shoes, because soon you're going to miss your big picture. You're going to miss your steps, and you're going to try to compare yourself with someone else that you're trying to put in, like, yourself in their shoes. You're trying to compare and contrast and be like, well, this is what they dealt with, but I haven't dealt with that. So maybe if I put myself in that situation and do with the same stuff that they dealt with, I will get where they went through and stuff. But no one knows how life would go. Only God knows. And I feel like we are in a society where we do compare ourselves a lot, because we don't know what other people are battling with. We don't know other people's battles. We just don't. So it is sometimes a good thing to focus on your battles and the things that you can control than the things of other people's battles and the things that you can't control. The thing is stressing over things. This is something I am learning, is to stop stressing over things. As someone who's unemployed for like 5 months, will soon be 6, but 5 months, about 5 months, it is hard for not, like, it's just hard to deal with not hearing good news about a job I applied to. Like, oh, are you available for an interview? What's your availability? We want to, like, have an interview with you with this, like, for this position. Like, it is very hard when you don't hear good news like that and you're stressing over, because it's like, that is something I can't control, you know? Especially we're in the state of the world, especially in the United States, I would say, because I know most of my listeners are from United States, where if you are someone who's a person of color, jobs have the right now, because the orange dust in the office say you have the right to not hire this person because of the color of their skin, or even if they're a woman. So as someone who is like qualified for the jobs that I applied to, and who has an education and who works hard, it is hard not to hear nothing back, because I ask myself, is it because how I look? Is it because I am African American? You know? And sometimes it is hard. Sometimes I do cry myself to sleep because I can't find a job. And like I said, I don't really like want to like touch base on that topic, because I have like the whole guest episode with Katie, where when we like talk about that whole topic, because I feel like a lot of people, especially young people, Gen Zs in your 20s, if you just graduated from college or are graduating from college soon, you should hear this, because it's something that I feel like you should listen to, because we drop a lot of key points on that, but I stress over that. And sometimes I have to remind myself to not, but it's like, it's close to the holidays. I don't like babysitting. because it's like it's not permanent, you know. Then I have all these things to pay off, like debt to pay off, and it's just like I'm just sick of it. I'm like sick of it. I don't make money off of social media yet, and it's just like it's stressful, you know, but I try to keep myself distracted so it doesn't stress me out. But I just feel like sometimes tell yourself things in your mind, like good things in your mind, to not let it stress you out, because like I said, it's something we can't really control, how this country is, how the job market is, and you know, sometimes we just have to put it in God's hands and God will work it out. The next thing is trying to figure out everything right now. You should never want to try to figure out everything that's going on badly in your life right now. Everything has its seasons in your life. Everything is temporary in your life. So that situation that you're going through right now is temporary. Like me, not having a job, finding a job. Soon I'm going to be like laughing about this when I do have a job because it is temporary. So you're trying to figure out everything that's wrong in your life all at once right now. It's going to stress you out, and it's going to make you tired because stress can tire you out. You being burned out can tire you out. It's going to probably decline your health. You might get sick, you know? And it's like I said, you can't control everything. We want to control everything, but we can't control everything. And we have to sometimes get rid of that mindset that I'm going to take care of everything right now. I can control everything. When we can't, and you have to give it to God. You have to put it all in God's hands and just try to quiet your mind and all of that. So, yeah. So, like I was saying, taking, like, not trying to figure out everything right now is not a good idea. My camera died, so I have to switch my battery so I can finish this episode. But no, try to not take over everything. Try to not try to figure out everything, because when you do that, you're going to stress yourself out. And sometimes I do that. I try to figure out, like, how can I do this and do that all at once. But going back to what I said before, the last key point is, you know, stressing over things, and especially stressing over things that I can't control. If you can't control the situation that you are in right now, don't try to figure it out, because you might have so many solutions to figure it out, but at the moment you can't figure it out. And if you can't, don't put yourself in that situation where you're going to give yourself a headache. So, yeah. So, the last key point on trying to not try to focus on others or things that you can't control is you need to take things slow. I probably said this in past seasons of the podcast, and if you subscribe to like my YouTube channel, is, you know, taking things slow is like sometimes take like a step back and look at everything as the big picture and try to take pieces and focus on that. Try to take pieces on the big picture and focus on that. So, like, your life could be a jumble mess right now, right? Try to write down everything, brain dump on what you consider your life being a hot mess right now, right? And then look at it, just stare at it, and then ask yourself, what can I do right now, right? This is a way of you taking it slow. Try to make steps for it to achieve that thing, but don't try to like do everything at fast, like everything at once, everything fast, because once you do that, you're going to miss so many steps that it's not going to go how you want it to go. So yeah, I am kind of tired by the way. I'm caffeinated, but I'm tired. But we're going to finish this episode. I hate that I can get tired now, but I think because it gets darker so fast, I get tired fast. And even though I have a large coffee just in my system right now, I just don't like daylight savings. I don't like how the sun goes down fast around like 4 p.m. So I'm like tired. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but I am. But let's just finish this episode because I really want to be more disciplined when it comes to creating content, posting content, and that also includes podcast content and my regular content. But let's just get more into the episode. So we're almost done now. So the next key point that I'm going to talk about is for this episode, which is titled Entering a New Season. I'm not going to talk a lot about this key point because the whole season 3 is all about this key point. So, if you want to know what I mean or how I think you should romanticize your life and you want tips on that, especially if you're in school, go listen to each and every episode of season 3. I will have that. I will make a playlist and I will have season 3 and I'll have season 3 in the show notes. I don't think I can do that for Apple or Spotify, but I know for YouTube I can make a playlist and you can go listen to that or watch that. But the guest episodes will not be on YouTube. They are only strictly for audio. But all of my episodes are seasoned, so yeah. I have a whole season about romanticizing your life, so I only have a few key points for this. So the first one is making a routine for yourself. Like I said, this is something that I want to do. I feel like when you have a routine for yourself, you have your life structure, you have somewhat of a structured life, your mind is not as cluttered than it was before, and so it helps you think better too when you have a routine for yourself. And just talking about this, if you like time blocking too, do that as well. Add your morning routine on your calendar as a time block and your night routine as a time block on your calendar. But I just feel like when you have a routine or when you make a routine for yourself, it is you just having you time, like me time for yourself. And it will also make you feel like you're in a movie as well, because I feel like a lot of chick flicks, they those type of characters have routines for themselves, so you can put yourself in their shoes as well. So yeah, the next one is to have a organized space. I love having an organized space. It helps me keep my mind uncluttered, but when my mind is cluttered, my space is cluttered, and that is true because I feel like if you can't think straight, your environment won't be right. That is something that I have heard so many times on social media. And there's ways you can do that. You can make a to-do list. You can set about 15 to 20 minutes just to clean up your space, to declutter something like your drawers, your closet, organize your drawers, organize your closet, see what you want and then when you don't want, what you don't want. And it can really have your mind not clutter and have your mind at peace. The other one is having a playlist. I love listening to the Marias. I think her name is Leve. I know it's her music's more on a jazzier size. I have been listening to her because of TikTok. Olivia Dean because of TikTok too. But I feel like those type of music really give you what I'm also going to talk about is main character energy, and that it can help you feel like you're somewhere else than where you are at now in your like mind and your headspace, and it can really help you not try to let you think of something that you're stressed over. Like, it can really clear your mind when you listen to like nice music where the lyrics are nicer than like the lyrics are nicer than if you are listening to about something about cheating on your partner, or having a one night stand, or just like not being in a happy relationship. So yeah. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about in today's episode, besties, is reflect on your current life and your previous season. So you want to like journal about it. I feel like everyone should do that, especially we're about to enter a new year in the next 29 days. We're about to enter a new year. So you can journal about how 2025 is. If you want to start a new season 2026 in your life, you can like do that. You can make a letter to yourself, and you can like have it like email yourself and have it read, like you read it in the next 6 months, or you can write a letter and open it in the next 6 months, or just keep a journal, date it, and be like, okay, so this is all the stuff I dealt with this and that, and you can talk about that, and maybe one day you can reread it and reflect on it. The next one is asking yourself questions on how the previous season was. So this also ties in with the like the next thing, but you can ask yourself like, who are the people that you like met, the people who were in your previous season that are still in your previous like in your new season of life, who not in your new season of life, and why did you cut them off. Things that you did, things that you want to learn, lessons that you learned, things you want to do. You can ask yourself those type of questions, like, what do I want to do, what type of people I want to meet, why did me and so parted ways. You can do that, and it can really have you thinking very hard on what you want now, and also you can learn a valuable lesson on a thing so you don't have to repeat those same mistakes. And then the last thing is writing all the good things that happen and the bad things that happen. This is also a form of reflection. But I just feel like everyone should do this. No one is perfect. I feel like that is something I want to do, is reflect on all my goods and all my bads and all my ups and all my downs. And it can be like, well, I quit this toxic job. Like, that can be a good thing. Or you got fired. But maybe if you did get fired from a job, you can break down, was it a good thing that you got fired? Because you can list down all the good things and the bad things on that job, and then maybe it could be a good thing on why you got fired, but you never realized it was a good thing. So you can do something like that. But besties, I was like looking on my iPad to see if I had more notes, but I didn't. But besties, that is it for the first episode of season 4. Again, that is titled "This Era Is Called," and entering a new season. Today's quote is again, embrace your life as it is. Well, just as it is. The imperfections are what make it flawed some. The affirmation is, I am able to look back over my life and find countless reasons to feel proud, fulfilled, and happy. And the journal prompt is, what are the most important values in life, and how can you live more in alignment with them, and what is something that you want to do in life? I think that was the question, but the second part of the question. But I really hope that you liked today's episode, besties. Again, you can follow You Against You podcast on Instagram and TikTok, which is You Against You pod.bydeja. And you can like, well, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to this on Spotify, don't forget to leave a rating and a comment, because I can read those and I do reply and I do like them. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave a comment and, well, a rating and review. I can also look at the reviews, and when you do that, it does push the podcast to newer audiences. So I hope you please do that, because it does help the podcast. I do want to do something soon and have like a Patreon. It would be free, but I don't know when, but I do want to do it soon. But I see y'all in the second episode of season 4, besties. Remember, it's you against you, not you against the world. And I see y'all next episode. Bye, besties.